Today on the Box Break Podcast, I want to find out if anyone still cares about these. This is another Champions Path ETB opening, so let's get right into it on the Box Break Podcast. What is up and what is good and what is going on? You are watching / listening to the fastest growing financial podcast based on cardboard pictures of cartoons. So today, December the 7th, 2020, as you can see, have a bit of a new setup going on. So in order to celebrate that, I have decided to open up the very first product that was opened on the channel, a Champions Path Elite Trainer Box. Searching, of course, for the Rainbow Charizard VMAX or the Shiny Charizard V, both going for around $350 to $400 in the raw style. So this episode will be a topic based on a viewer question, right? And the longtime supporter of this channel, Jeffrey Chang, asked me a question on the last episode where I talked about secret lairs, whether or not they were good investments. You can check that video out in the link in the description and in the card above. And he asked me, he said it's an interesting talk. He'd be interested in a video of the transitioning to being an investment from a hobby, right? So it's two different things. There's an investment and then there's a hobby. I think that there are shades of gray in between. I'll get into that. When should a player begin thinking about his cards as an investment, right? How can one start early? Let's say I have $100 a month to spend. After a year, that's $1,200. From a savings for retirement point of view, the answer is usually easy. Put $100 a month in an investment vehicle, and it compounds. This doesn't work in this hobby, and there is an obvious disconnect with investing, with playing, and the title of this network. Conventional wisdom is that box breaking is not good AV. Very good observation. If you watch this channel, you would see the EV of these boxes tends to not equal the sealed product, and when you open the product, it tends to evaporate, right? These are going now for around $65 a piece. The odds of me pulling $65 in cards is not very high, right? So there's that in terms of collecting, in terms of investing. And to me, I think that just like any investment where the disconnect leaves is investing is all about discipline. There is a difference between investing and flipping. There's a difference between investing and betting, right? And gambling, right? When I talk about investing, right? When I look at the word investing, I think that's a word that's been watered down over time. And I do believe that investments are to be held for a long term, right? Where it's like, you don't need the money. So you're okay with holding on to the product. Oh yeah, the codes are available for this, right? So you're okay with holding on to the product, and you will be able to withstand any long or short-term volatility as we get a Lycan Rock. Oh yeah, right, these come with a foil or a holo in every pack, right? It's been a while since I've opened Champions Path. So to me, I don't see the difference in if you have in the $100 a month thought, where it's like if you have $100 in any month, like, can I invest in cards? I think for sure you can. You know, it has to be, do you have a $100 budget for cards invested? Is that you're going to want to put away, you know, some amount of money in stocks, some amount of money as we get a full art top card, right? Always like to see this here. We even brought back the Champions Path sleeves, right? So you like to see that people would put, you know, their money into any investment vehicle, but I wouldn't go all in on cards, just like I wouldn't tell anyone. If you were to see somebody with 95% of their money put into real estate, I would say that that's just as dangerous as somebody who has 95% of his money in cards, right? So if I'm going to be investing in cards, you know, you just need it to be a good portion. Ooh, I like that as a Hatterene. It just needs to be a good portion of your investment portfolio. Now, when do I change from a collectible to an investable? Now, any investment takes discipline. Discipline. You need to know the difference in what's an investable and what's not. Now, those vary from person to person. There are people, in my last video I mentioned, I don't believe that secret lairs, I don't believe in the pseudo reserved list. I believe in sealed product, and I believe in the reserve list. Those are the things that you invest in. You grade, you know, graded reserve list cards are cool. You know, some people say that you shouldn't grade anything that isn't Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, or Four Horsemen. I don't fully agree with that. I think as long as it's a reserve list card, I think grading it is always going to be pretty much fine, right? This is a very good example, by the way, of why Champions Path is so hit or miss. We've got quote-unquote hits so far in 3 of the packs, and it is basically for naught because it's all about the Zard. So to me, is just look at what sealed products you can buy as long as you're willing to hold on to it for 5 to 10 years plus. If you have $100 right now, you can buy yourself, just throwing it out there, a Tolarian Academy. You can throw it, you can buy an old, not all the old Pokemon cards are millions of dollars, by the way. You can look for some that have went down. You can pick up some base set. You know, you can pick up some old Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You know, it's just the stuff that you think is good investment for long term. Why not put a little every month, buy something, but pick up one card? You know, pick up like a Gaia's Cradle if you have the money, save up for it. You know, and as far as investing versus, you know, as being a player, well, you should know the difference in your cards. I will have a controversial episode coming out. So I personally am a big fan of proxies in non-competitive formats in games, where I think that, say you're a Commander player and you want to tell your friends, listen, I have this Yawgmoth's Will, right? I don't want to mess it up because it's expensive and it's going to only appreciate in value over time. And I want to just use a proxy. You know, I think that's fine. And I think you should. And, you know, show the people that you own it. It's a nice chance to flex as well. But put yourself in a position where people know that you want these cards to remain nice in the long run, as a Lucario V has been pulled here. So, as far as transitioning from and just a quick aside on the title of the network, I have value in generating content for people. You know, I see that as far as a business decision. I see value in creating content for people to open it. And let's be honest, these boxes have been sold to people that they're buying, which allows me to stay liquid in the business. You know, I'm not, you know, I would love to be able to open my older boxes, but I don't have the money to just take an open hit. So if someone wanted to buy them, as I get a Rainbow Rare Piers card, very, very, very nice. Not the Rainbow VMAX, which we were hoping to see, and a Hollow Energy. And I really like these. I really like the shine of these Hollow Energies, right? So, to me, you are going to want to just be a disciplined person and know the difference in collecting versus investing, and know the difference in what is really an investment vehicle. To me, the only investment vehicles in the reserve list on Magic are reserve list and sealed, and in Pokemon, older cards, and, you know, I would say newer, like super high-end gradable cards. You know, it just depends on how long you're willing to hold on. It's hard to really tell what it is that you want to invest in, but I don't think that I think that it's all about just having a good budget, you know, making sure you're not spending money that you need. It's very important. I cannot stress this enough. Do not spend money. There's another Lucario V. This is an insane box. Just no Charizard, right? Maybe the Charizard is sitting in one of these 2 packs. So what I would say, as far, you know, don't spend money you don't need. Just put it into the vehicles that are good. You know, don't play with your investments. That's a good thing about the old Pokemon cards, is that there's never going to be a time where you're like, I really need to play with this Charizard. It's just a collector's item, which is great. You know, no one's going to be like, oh, I need it. And, you know, you could argue that, oh, that's going to drive the price down. But, you know, the collectors are the ones who spend the most money on the game. You know, I've learned over years that, like, competitive playable cards in games, just look at the price of engineered explosives versus the price of, you know, the doubling season, for example, you know, or an older card. It's just the competitive cards people need to play. I don't know. They don't tickle my fancy. If I get a fetch land or a Snapcaster Mage or something like that, those things just go right out the door for me. I don't care. You know, and again, it's not an investment. If I'm looking on a spec, you know, and some people will say, "Oh, do you speculate on cards?" And I'm like, it's like playing the options market with Wall Street bets. You know, when you start trying to spec on cards, you're gonna win, and when you win, everyone's gonna say, and for every person who bought up all the Mickelson Vladis foils, there's a bunch of people that loaded up on every random card whenever a new set comes out, and it doesn't work out. So as far as an investment goes, just, of course, if you have $100 this month to spend, think about it. A few years ago, if you had $100 a month to spend and you spent that every single time you bought a Gaia's Cradle, or a Wheel of Fortune, great example. You bought a Wheel of Fortune every single week for every single month, you would have made a killing, you know, or even if you're just buying it. Now, depending on how large capital you have, you know, you can do more, but it's all about building percentages. You want to be able to build. And understand this takes time. Any investment takes time. We live in an era where everyone's about the bull market, the bull rush. It's not always going to be that way. So with that said, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope my answer to the question was sufficient. If you have a comment to make about this video, please be sure to leave one in the comment section below. And I hope everyone